Welcome. We're here for On the Wings of Hope, our favorite monthly Shoud. Jeffrey getting ready for Adamus. And as we said earlier, you know we're right here at home in the Louisville, Colorado studio, the Crimson Circle Connection Center. So with that, we have a wonderful, beautiful live audience. Could we catch a shot of them real quick? Okay. Yes. See? There we go. So with that, I think it's time for some conscious breathing to really get those energies moving and flowing into today's message. So with that, please take that good deep breath, that breath of life. Let the energies flow. Feel that air. Feel that air. Oh, it fills our body as we breathe. And you breathe this deep and conscious breath, realizing all that you are. Take that good deep breath and breathing into I am that I am. I exist. Breathe for you. Breathe with presence. And as always, breathe opening to the highest potentials. There's so much here for each of us. Just simply choose it. Breathe it. Take that good deep breath. Stay with that good, and invite Adamus in. He always invites us to breathe him in. Feel him. He's there for each of us. Take that good deep breath as we continue this breath, inviting Adamus in.
I get up in the evening and I ain't got nothing to say. I come home in the morning, I go to bed feeling the same way. I ain't nothing but tired. Man, I'm just tired and bored with myself. Hey there, baby, I could use just a little help. You can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a spark. This gun's for hire. Even if we're just dancing in the dark. Messages keep getting clearer. Radio's on and I'm moving round the place. I check my look in the mirror. Wanna change my clothes, my hair, my face. Man, I ain't getting nowhere. Well, I'm just living in a dump like this. There's something happening somewhere. Hey, I just know where it is. You can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a spark. This gun's for hire. Even if we're just dancing in the dark. You sit around getting older. There's a joke here somewhere and it's on me. I shake the weight off my shoulders. Come on, baby, the laugh's on me. Stay on the streets of this town and they'll be carving you up alright. They say I gotta stay hungry. Hey, baby, I'm just about starving and I am dying for some action. I'm sick of sitting around here trying to write this book and need a love reaction. Hey, baby, give me just one look. You can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a spark. This gun's for hire. Even if we're just dancing in the dark. Even if we're just dancing in the dark. Even if we're just dancing in the dark.
I am that I am, Adamus of Sovereign Domain. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to a new year. I see. I say. What a group. Only Shambra. Only Shambra. Let's get another audience shot before you turn down the lights. Why don't you take a look at this now and then a year from now and see what the difference is. So it is a big year. And I've been probably pushing a little bit lately with Shambra, with all of you. You got to let go of the issues. Hey, they're just stories, story of your bad childhood or bad relationship or whatever it is. The issues that you might have with being a victim, whatever it is, we got to clear out the last of those. We really do, because things are going to move so fast from now on. I mean, you haven't even seen fast yet. So fast on the planet. And it just is so tedious and so painful to carry around all those issues. Could we get this monitor killed, please? Not killed, but turned off. You can't carry those around with you. You got to let them go. And it's actually pretty easy. And I know some of you get offended when I say that, but it's pretty easy. You just make that choice. I'm going to let all this stuff go. Yeah, when you do, you might feel all those aspects come up and fight you on it. You might feel the kind of the flurry of all the sludge getting out of your system. You might get sick for a week or two. That's fine, because you gotta let that stuff go. Where we're going in our work, which you'll get a better clue about when we do the Marab today, where we're going, and Calder's chiding me for using the word work. It's work, but it's the passion, it's the real passion of why you're here. I will call it work, but what we're here to do right now is so important. This isn't just another kind of a friendly New Age group, spiritual study or philosophical study group, and we are here for a mission, to do something. That's why you came here in this lifetime, why you endured a lot of the crap. But now it's time to let that go. You're going to need to let it go, and we'll get into more of that as we talk today. But Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year 2025. You made it. Before we go any further, I want you to feel into yourself right now in this moment. Right now, wherever you happen to be in this now moment. Just feel into that for a moment. You don't need a lot of words, just feel into it. Where you get in trouble sometimes is you think you got to put words into your feelings. You don't. Just feel it. Get comfortable with just feeling without all the words. Now, I want you to feel into yourself in 1 year. New Year's 2026. 1 year from now. It's not about trying to create a mental image. Feeling yourself. And letting that self be right here with you right now, 2026. The good news is that you made it in a year from now. And things will be pretty different. But feel into that. Yeah, it was Cthulhu said a number of years ago, he said, you already realized it's just now experiencing how you got there. You're already in 2026, in a way of speaking, and now what will you experience this year to get there? How will you be different? Feel into that for a moment. Now, feel into that thing that was talked about earlier, that yourself, your childhood magic, yourself, when you were maybe 3 years old, when you first were aware of New Year's. like a young, wide-eyed child. That's like you just came off of Christmas, and now everybody's celebrating New Year. So what is a new year? What is that? There's kind of a beautiful innocence in that. What's a year? Feel into that part of you that absolutely was magical. You didn't have all those filters and screens that were blocking out the childhood magic. I know some of you say, well, I don't remember anything about it. Bullshit. Remember. It was there. You just blocked it out. But it's a beautiful memory. And you're not making it up. That's the other thing you do is, oh, I'm just making this up. No, you're not. As a young child, every one of you, you came here to this planet with bringing great gifts with your abilities to connect with the other realms. I feel into that young child, what, maybe 2 years old, 3, maybe 4. Some of you slow learners, you're 14, 15, but feel into that magic. That was almost, well, no, not almost. It was more of a real world than the real world. You're learning to adapt to the mental world, the linear world. Your childhood magic, that was real. Talking to beings, very, very real. And you bring that back now, right now, as we begin 2025, as we're connecting into a year ahead. That comes back. That ability to connect with that and not be making it up. It's very real. And maybe it's not unicorns this time. Maybe it's not little elfish figures, but it's the world beyond. Worlds that are very, very real, very real. We're going to talk more about it, but there's a poetic portion to this. Myself as the magical being, it's very poetic, very creative, very beautiful. But it's also very much a part of physics. Now they're just touching on it. Alternative realities that exist aside from this, but it's theory right now, but they're going to be coming to find out through the study of quantum physics that it is potentially very real. Alternative realities that are existing but never aware of each other. But where we're going, you are aware of it. You're aware of yourself in other realities. And one of the prime examples of that is your dreams are intensifying. I get a lot of complaints. I have a complaint box. Yes, I haven't gone to it in a long time, but because it's always full. I can empty it tonight, and it'll be full by the morning. But one of the things is, Thomas, why all these dreams? Why all the intense dreams? I can't sleep through the night. You're going through dream cycles. And going through those dream cycles, it's everything from dreaming about your past lives, or your past lives actually going through their realization. You're kind of seeing that as a story, their story, and you dream about it. The problem is your mind right now is still interpreting the symbols in weird ways, but you're dreaming. That's coming through. You're experiencing, or maybe observing, is a better word, to observing what's happening to your past lives. You're going into other states of dream right now where you are connecting with the alternative realities that are out there. A lot of them really aren't that important. Don't get all hung up in it, because you could be having 1,000 or more alternative realities, and a lot of them are just very secondary. But the important thing is to understand that they are happening, and they can be connected too. And you can be in that and that we've talked about for a long time. Some of the alternative realities are very beautiful and very potentially important, because you see you're on a certain track, a certain pathway, thinking that nothing can change, thinking that you're just going to be making minor improvements going along. Whereas there is an alternative reality. You could almost say it's a dream state, but it's much more real than a dream. An alternative reality that you actually exist in, where there is magical outcomes. And I say magic, it's the other way to say it is quantum physics kind of realities that are out there that you can access, that are you. It's not somebody else. It's not just your soul telling more stories, but it's you. And imagine that you can connect into this and live it. I mean, be living in it, no longer just trapped in a singular dimension. It's all based on light. Everything is in those realities based on light. And it's the very reason that, remember when Jamie talked about in the Metaphysics of the Merlin, when he talked about the year 2044, coming from there, but talking about what happens, 7-8 years from now? After those sessions, Caldera laughed and chided me and said that, what a fairy tale, that all this is going to happen in a few short years and the whole world changes. It actually can, because there are already alternative realities that are on that pathway. All it takes is light. That's it. All it takes is light. Light, of course, is imagination. And amazing things can be done with light. Science is just now slightly beginning to understand, but they've got a ways to go. They really need to tune into our Shouds and into our workshops. We can give them the fast track. We're doing it both from a poetic standpoint and kind of a storytelling standpoint, but it's also very much quantum physics, what we're doing right here. Quantum physics, you're all PhDs in physics, because we're going into very new places. So, moving along, it's so important this year to let go of the crap. And I'll be calling you on it if I see it. Why are you hanging on to that? I'm not hanging on to it. It won't let go of me. It's chasing me around. No, you're hanging on to it. I'm going to call you on that. It's, as I remember, I used to do one with Macchio. Most of the Macchio is gone now, but you're still dragging stuff around. You don't own any of it. They're just stories. And you can change the story, and you can let go of the crap. And if you think you can't, it's beyond you, you need to ask yourself, why are you letting that still play a role in your life? You must be getting something from it. We have far too much work to do this year, and it takes a very dedicated group like you to do it. You notice that there's people that come in and out of Crimson Circle. They're attracted by the light. They come in, and it's like, whoa, this isn't for them, because we don't do a lot of kumbaya things, and we get right to the program. And that's why you're here, and it's so important right now. 2025. There's going to be a lot of breakthroughs in science, physics, and just about everything else. I'll talk more about it in Pronos, but two main things to watch for in 2025. These aren't necessarily going to make the headline news of the Wall Street Journal, but they're happening regardless. You may have to dig into technical journals or something like that, but two huge breakthroughs that are coming. The first one has to do with energy. There's going to be a major breakthrough in terms of free energy this year. And, it's Caldera and Dr. Doug were talking about it on the phone the other day. It's good news. Free energy. Could you imagine? Your car you never need to plug it in or fill it up with gas. It just goes. Free energy. A lot of the world's problems right now, other than religion, are caused by oil. But isn't it funny that the epicenter for religions and oil are in about the same place? So many of the world's problems originate right there in that region. And for a long time, it's been the whole oil thing, wanting to make sure that your country has its share of oil. It's caused a lot of battles, a lot of wars. Can you imagine free energy? Now, it's not necessarily going to be available in 2025, but the breakthrough in the technology is going to be there. Can you imagine how disruptive that is? I don't know, everybody yells, freedom, freedom, but well, hang on a second. At what price? Is the world ready for free energy? Is the world truly ready? What's going to happen to all the gas stations and the charging stations across the world? What's going to happen to those poor people? Maybe we shouldn't have energy so we can keep them employed. No, that's stupid thinking. We'll find something else for them to do. But what if there was this free energy available, let's say, in the next 3 or 4 years? Totally free energy. What happens to big businesses that rely on it? What happens to governments that use it for control? What happens to the first person that says, free energy, I'm going to use my free energy to steal your free energy? I know it's the first thing that's going to happen, because it's like, energy isn't just good enough in that the fact that it's free and non-polluting, but I got to take years and years and years, because I want to, well, not me, but somebody's going to say, hey, I want the power, I want the control, I'm going to manage this free energy thing. So you can imagine, but that breakthrough, if you feel into it, of true free energy on the planet is right here. That's one of those jaw-dropping things that changes everything. Yeah, second thing, and it might sound boring, technical, but it's huge, and it ties into free energy. Quantum computing. Right now, you've got a system that's pretty sophisticated with your chips and transistors, and how many billions of transistors can you possibly get onto a little tiny chip? It's kind of almost coming to the end of that ability to keep adding more transistors to a chip. I mean, they've done a great job, but at a certain point, how many more can you add? What happens now is the breakthrough in quantum computing. Quantum computing doesn't rely on chips and transistors. It doesn't necessarily rely on a lot of electricity or power. You could almost equate quantum computing to the kind of like the workings of the mind, but a lot more efficient, a lot less complex. It runs on its own. It doesn't need massive amounts of energy to fuel it. Where the planet is going right now with AI, with everything under that umbrella of AI, needs massive amounts of computing technology, computing power, massive amounts. Great things can be done with AI, but it's a big consumer of power. I mean, energy power. It's a great consumer of just a massive amount of processing that takes place. What happens now this year is a breakthrough in quantum computing. It doesn't take all this oil to generate the electricity to run it. It's one of the problems that Bitcoin has been running into. It's an energy hog. And they're having to find more and more resources now just to drive these servers, these farms where they're processing all this information. Every time you play with AI, it takes a tremendous amount of energy. And what happens now is the advent of quantum computing, a whole different technology, a whole different paradigm that is going to be approximately, and Calder is double checking me. He's a great fact checker. It's going to be approximately 1 million times faster and more efficient than your current chips and transistors, if you could imagine. Now, things are going really fast right now. There's processors that can process trillions and trillions of bits and bytes of data in a fraction of a second. But imagine going 1 million times faster with quantum computing. It's beyond what the mind can even comprehend. Those two things are going to happen this year, the breakthroughs, maybe not the implementation. And that's going to have a dramatic effect on this planet and a dramatic effect on, well, these next couple of years, and potentially a dramatic effect on the whole scenario that Jamie laid out, which seems like kind of a pipe dream, you know, at least if you don't have a big imagination, Caldra. It seems like a great big pipe dream. How can this ever happen in utopia and that? It can. Because at the very core of all of this, beyond the quantum computing, beyond the energy breakthrough, is one very, very basic substance. They still haven't figured out quite yet, but it's light. It's light. That makes all the difference in the ability to have these breakthroughs. And that's exactly why you're here. You could say you are the ones that are finding the free energy because it's your light. It's your radiance that is affecting the people who are working on it in the laboratories. Most of them don't have big imaginations. The whole point of science, beyond trying to replicate things, the point of science is to also invalidate things. Science is set up to deliberately invalidate itself by always questioning itself. Now, that's a good thing because it says we're going to keep going back over and over, retesting, trying to revalidate. Is this an actual concept? There's great concepts in physics that have been disproven, thank goodness. They were appropriate at the time, but not necessarily right now. So all this is changing very, very fast, if you haven't noticed. Anybody not notice? All this, you say the only thing that's not changing is your personal life, but that's changing too. Just take a look. So we have all these changes taking place on the planet right now. And that's why I say going forward from here, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to stop being the nice guy around here. And call you on the stuff. You don't need it anymore. We just recently released I Am Debt Free. I was kind of at the last moment. As the story goes, I was sitting in my library, which is much, much, much nicer than that. Much bigger. Oh, my gosh. It's got food everywhere and people waiting on me and wine and everything else. Yeah. I was sitting around in my library one night saying, well, you know, what is it? With Shambra, there's some blockages here. There's things that are holding us back. I mean, I can feel your excitement and wanting to move forward, but then the next day, I got all these problems, Adama. So I realized debt. You know, and not just financial debt. As a matter of fact, financial debt is the result of other debts. Financial debt is similar to what pains in your body are. Pains are just a reflection of imbalances. I mean, they're not just pains. Your knees are bad. It's telling you something. There's something else out of balance. The pain is the last thing on the line, last thing that occurs. It shows up in your body. Financial debt isn't because you're financially, I was going to say stupid, but Calder wouldn't let me say stupid, so I say not because you're financially immature. It's because what happens is all of your other debts, all of your other imbalances then eventually manifest in your finances. And it's real simple, Energy 101. It ends up in your finances. So a lot of you are adverse to money and business, and it's all bad. Get over it. That's an old spiritual debt that you still carry around. You learned it, and you probably taught it in the churches. And it was real convenient for them at the time because, you know, you're all supposed to be poor. Give us your money. You be poor. That's what God wants. And money is bad. I mean, you know, just look at all the evil money has caused. And you bought into it. Worse yet, you preached it. And now you feel you got this debt inside yourself. Geez, I bought into the shit, and then I preached the shit, and then I'm eating the shit. And let go of it. It's a debt. The whole concept of here's what it sounds like when I hear you or others talking about it. Money is evil. It's bad. It's bad, and big businesses and conspiracies. It's just like the same as you saying energy is evil and it's bad. Same difference. Money is just energy. Money is nothing. It's a piece of paper. No, it's not even that. It's a piece of plastic. It's a transaction online. It's nothing except energy. So get over the whole fact. Let that debt go. You're kind of carrying it around like I've got to carry that on my shoulders because it's I can't find God if I have money. No, God loves money. I mean, God invented money, so He loves money. The debt continues.
Who's God?
You are God. That God loves money. So stop defying God. I mean, so and there's other debts too. You've got relationship debts, family debts, all sorts of debts. And when I was sitting in my library and taking a look and saying, what's holding Shaumbra back? I mean, they've had the most amazing teachers, the ascended masters. What more could they want? And then I realized debt. That's when I quickly called up Caldera. Said, get in. We're going to do a little session. He called the staff. They all got here, and now you've got that. I am debt-free. So you can't. Yes, you can. You don't want to go into this next year or any of the other years subsequent to it with debt. Family, relationships, spiritual debt. Spiritual debt is huge because of all the things you've learned and all the things you've taught. That kind of adds up, and it's difficult getting rid of some of that, some of the old belief systems, and some of the feelings of guilt that, you told people to get rid of their money, give it to you, the church. Let it all go. You don't need a great big ceremony. You don't need to think for days, months, or years about it. I am debt-free. I let all that stuff go out of my life. It's a beautiful marab within that. If you don't want to buy the product, that's fine. Just let it go. Debt's a big issue. Debt creates more debt, as Caldera and Linda said before. It's kind of like its own monster, and it just creates more and more. It sucks you into that hole and creates more and more debt. And you're truly not free then. So let's take a deep breath right now, beginning of this calendar year, and let that debt go. And a very, very clear reminder, if you have financial debt, it's the ultimately the energetic manifestation of other forms of debt. Relationships, karma, past lives, oaths and vows that you took. A lot of you witchy witches, you took a lot of oaths and vows, and those are debts. Those are debts. You're thinking that you have a debt to pay to your parents. You don't. A debt to pay to humanity. You don't. Not at all. So let's take a deep breath right now and let those debts go. Become bankrupt. A bankrupt Shaumbra. Morally, mentally, everything. Just let it go. And what happens now, the energy is free. It can go back into the devir, the neutral state, and serve you now as a master, not as a beholden, debt-ridden human. That's a difficult thing. Debt also encompasses things like guilt and shame, which we've talked about. Let's take a deep breath. Are you willing to let go of all your debts? Yes. Good. That was one. Well, oh, another one online. I almost missed you there. We got two. And it's as easy as doing that. You really do say, I'm debt-free. Now, what happens is the energies start changing and realigning and reserving you. Sometimes it requires having to flush out a lot of stuff out of your physical body and your mind. It might not be particularly comfortable for a very short period of time, but at least you're letting it go. You're letting all that debt go so you can truly be free. I went so far in the I Am Debt-Free Master's Pause. Say if you've got financial debt, you got a lot of debt, you're not going to easily get out of it. I mean, it's difficult to get out of. You got what, $20, $50, $100,000 in debt. You're just going to get more in debt. Cauldre is going to pipe in. This is not necessarily the recommendation of Crimson Circle or Cauldre personally, but that being said, file.
For entertainment value only, right?
No, this is not entertainment. This is, if you're in that kind of debt, file for bankruptcy. Get it over with. It's not being irresponsible. As a matter of fact, it's being very responsible to yourself, unless you go back and get in debt again right away. It's a one and done. Get rid of that debt right away.
Wow.
I'm serious. Don't do it again. I'm going to have to come around and have a big talk with you, but get rid of the debt. Otherwise, it's like carrying a huge weight on your shoulders, and it's going to affect your body. It's going to affect everything. Get rid of the debt. So we have a lot of work to do in this year. We're just starting. This is only the fourth. So a lot of work to do. And now I'll go to what I said on our last shout, I believe, or Kihak. I said this is going to have to be the year of radical imagination. Radical imagination. So with the lights up and Linda on the microphone, let's talk about radical imagination. Go for it, dear Linda.
Go for what?
You just start prowling. Get that microphone ready. Radical imagination. Give me an example of radical imagination in your life, yours. Don't apply it to somebody else. What is your version of radical imagination?
Oh my! How much time do you have?
2 minutes. If you can't summarize, you're not a master.
Distilled down. I just continue to see and feel and experience just joy and peace and. But specifically in your life, how do you get from here to there in radical imagination? What do you need to imagine besides joy itself? But what do you need to imagine? I just imagine the light of it,
Okay.
the lightness of it, and the feeling of being happy and joy.
What has to be let go in order to have that? What alterations need to happen?
Well, emotional debt.
Okay.
I think relationship debt.
Right.
Yeah, releasing that, the debt, guilt,
Can
shame.
Can you really imagine joy at that level?
At that level of shame and guilt and
No. At the level that we're talking about, radical imagination. Can you?
I feel it. Yes, I do. I feel it. I can imagine it.
I feel you're really cutting yourself short. You're not going radical. You're just, okay, life will be good. No, I'm talking radical imagination.
Into another realm radical.
Into many different realms.
Into many
radical.
different realms,
Yeah.
yes. And being a realm worker, I have definitely experienced many of those different places.
Yeah.
And of course, I jump in and jump out because it's because of that gravity. And
a little imagination is not going to do it. Little imagination this year, comfortable imagination.
Okay.
Oh, wouldn't it be nice to have joy? No, I'm talking about radical imagination.
Radical. Okay. Radical.
Where you almost can't even imagine it, kind of imagination, but you can.
It's like I can. It's like
What
touching.
do you do to imagine things? Do you lay there at night in your bed?
Usually at 3:00 in the morning.
Right. Yeah, when
That's
we
when
talk.
it's really quiet.
Yeah,
peaceful.
But do you imagine or do you worry?
Usually I wake up worrying, and then
Right.
I start to breathe, and I say, "Okay, wait a minute now. This is not okay. Get up."
Right.
and come back to bed.
And worry.
No. Then I put on something from Keith.
What do you do at that point? Oh, you listen to me?
Yes.
Yeah, great.
Yes.
That's radical.
Yeah, Merlin's great. Yeah.
Yeah. What else? What else would you're in that moment at 3 o'clock? I'm sure not many of you know what that's like.
Oh, yeah.
That 3 o'clock in the morning. We ought to have a 3 in the morning club for Chambra.
Yeah, we could definitely be there.
But the last thing you want to do at 3 in the morning is talk to other Chambra. Oh no, that's just me.
Sometimes I do, from Germany and from New Zealand.
How do you get to radical imagination?
I'm going to learn about it.
No, you're going to allow it.
I'm going to allow it. That's
it's inherent.
Right. Allow
when
it.
you're laying there at 2, 3 in the morning and you're worried about your finances because you're in debt, and then you try to think your way into it. I'm going to imagine that I don't have any debt and the world's fine and everything's good. That doesn't work so well because it's still coming from the mind.
Right.
You take a deep breath and you do a F it thing and take a deep breath. I don't care anymore. And you allow. And allowing simply means opening up. Opening up. No, you're not trying to control anything, and this isn't the discipline. You're going, I don't have anything to lose. I'm going to allow all that I am.
And that's when I start to travel.
Yes.
And that's when I start to go on the traveling adventure.
Best sleeping pill
No.
is allowing. No, I'm saying best sleeping pill is allowing,
No.
because then suddenly you allow, next thing you know, you're deep asleep, but you're going into those other realms.
Right. I ride the rainbow.
You ride the rainbow.
Ride the rainbow over to Hawaii.
Yes.
I just do.
I'm not going to tolerate just okay imagination. It's not good enough.
Okay.
It's got to be radical imagination
As
we go forward.
Being a realm worker, though, I know that I know what that feels like.
Yes, you do.
And then it's a matter now of feeling it and being it. But
It's a matter of allowing it.
allowing it, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, allowing
Allowing your mind would say you're allowing yourself to go crazy, but the mind doesn't really understand. You're allowing yourself from all the levels, radical imagination into other realms.
Is it my body that goes too, or is it more my imagination that's part of my light that goes?
Is it?
Is it?
Is it?
Is it?
Who's on first?
It's radical.
It's radical.
It's radical.
Yeah. Yeah. Is your body there? That's radical. I'm going to take the essence of this. That's radical. That's going beyond the thinking, going beyond just normal imagination. Normal imagination is really gray. When you go radical imagination, you're breaking through those realms and going into something that's very, very real.
I've had people call me and say, "Were you over here?" And I was, because I've been traveling in the rainbow.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm there. I mean, I feel.
What happens to light when you're doing radical imagination? What's the effect on light?
It's fast. It's speedy. It's bright. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's exhilarating.
It's no longer confined.
No.
It's no longer limited. It's no longer just blue. The light actually, at that point of radical imagination, has no speed because it's everywhere. It doesn't need to travel from one place to the next. It doesn't need to go from through time and space. It's already way beyond time and space. That's why they're finding that two particles in this reality, separated, put at great distances from each other, are still communicating in real time. There's no time lapse. Same thing with light. There's no speed to it because it's just everything everywhere. Right. And that's when you really start to grasp the what light can do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, next. Same question. Define radical imagination in your life. What does that mean? What does it look like? Oh, there we go. Good. Andy, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Good.
Yeah.
Radical imagination.
I'm having trouble with that.
Why?
Well, when I imagine things, they happen, which is wonderful.
Boy, is that bad news.
Well,
we
but
can get
you're
you some help
saying
on that. We can get you
radical.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not radical enough. It's like, what, go to Mars or something?
That's radical?
Well,
I mean, that's just a hop, skip, and a jump away. I'm talking radical, Andy. Far beyond Mars, not even in the same dimension as this universe, not confined to time and space. That's radical.
well, see, now you talk about like dreams and stuff.
Right.
But dreams are getting kind of old. You know, people come up and they ask me things. It's like, I don't know what to tell you.
In your dreams,
You're right,
they
you
do?
know. Yeah.
What do you think that means?
Maybe I'm still realm working or something, but it's like,
Andy, stop for a moment.
Yeah.
People come up to you in your dreams and ask you for advice. Who are they? You.
yeah.
Your past lives. They're
Yeah.
saying, hey, master from 2025, I need a little help back here.
Well, I kind of.
And you blow them off.
I do.
You're like, get out of here, I'm
I
busy.
do.
And
I
they go
don't-
back 500, 800 years ago. It's like, boy, that was useless. I mean, I had heard that my future self was really wise and empowered and everything, and doesn't even want to bother with me.
Oh, and
Can
they
you imagine
do.
how
They
they
act
feel?
like that. They think I have all the answers.
You do.
Well, I kind of lost interest. It's like, you know, whatever
They're like
they
little
wanna-
kids coming to you, saying, I need some help.
You know, I raised kids. I did all that stuff. I'm done with it.
But all they need is a simple encouragement, a simple little, all is well in all of creation. That's all they need to hear. And then they go back to that past life. Oh, everything's great. My future self told me. And if my future self told me, it's got to be right. All is well in all of creation. You got to say it like that, too. You can't just say,
Get that deep voice
yeah,
going. but
all is well in all of
authority,
creation.
all is well.
Yeah, and then they shut up.
I kind of ignore them. It's like,
I know.
go away. Right. I'm like done with them. You know,
Can't
go
you just
ahead, have
come
fun.
Come up with 3 lines you use, that when they
Yeah.
come to you. All is well is pretty good. And the other thing is Luke, be the light. They won't understand what that means because they don't have movies, but just come
Right.
up with a couple, they're thrilled.
Okay.
Thrilled.
All right. I
I
know.
built a whole career on this shit. All is well.
I guess I've just lost interest in.
Yeah, but you still haven't answered my question. Radical imagination.
I'm pretty happy where I am, what I'm doing.
You don't want to
Life
be.
is
You don't want to
good.
go radical imagination.
I do, but
Not that important.
it's no.
Okay,
I'm
that's,
good.
That's
I'm
fine.
good right
That means
here.
your life is good, and
Yeah.
your kids are doing fine. I mean, your
Well,
past life
kinda.
kids and your real life kids are fine, and
Well,
yeah.
mostly.
Well,
but
it's not that great.
Yeah,
is it?
you know how
Okay.
that goes.
But just all right. Imagine
All right.
now one of your past lives coming to you in the middle of the night, and you're just irritated that they're waking you up, and they say,
yeah.
"Oh, great, Andy. How do I get radical imagination? What do I need to do?"
You know, sometimes I tell them come on down to Earth. You'll figure it out.
Well, they're on Earth in a different lifetime. They're already here.
Yeah.
They think it sucks more than you do. Yeah,
Yeah. And
What?
it did suck back in, too.
I know. That's why they're coming to you now.
All right. I need to come up with some lines.
Yeah, but what are you going to tell them about radical imagination?
Think
How
out
about-
of the box.
What
I
a-
know.
What
I
about?
know.
All right. What about you read them my story, The Land of Blue? They say you're
We're
living.
blue today.
I know. I noticed
Right?
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you tell them the story of the Land of Blue. You talk about, see, I used to always wear blue. I lived in blue, just like you, in blue. And now imagine beyond blue. And they're going to say, I don't know how to do that. What do you mean? That's all I know is blue. I know there's something besides blue out there. Well, the past life is going to say, I've been told that's the demon. That's Satan out there. It's all red, and I'm going to get eaten alive. So I'm going to stay in blue because it's safe. And then what are you going to tell them?
I'm going to laugh.
Right. Yeah. And they'll think you're Satan then.
Could be the problem.
Right. Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. And what are you going to tell them about blue?
Oh, there's so much more.
There's so much more.
That's just it's like high school physics. They scratch the surface.
Yeah.
It's like
Nothing.
dude, you're
Yeah.
missing the big picture.
Exactly. And then they're going to be saying, "Oh, but I'm okay with blue. It's fine. And why would I want to imagine anything else? Blue is kind of nice." I picked this up from my future life in 2025. Said everything's just fine, and I don't need to do anything.
Well, there's some truth to that.
I know. They're telling me to talk to you and say, "Could you come up with something?" How do you go radical imagination?
It reminds me of a Weird Al song. Everything you know is wrong.
Right. Could you sing a few bars?
No, I'm way too nervous
okay,
right now.
yeah. Okay.
It's a good song, though.
So let's jump to the next question.
All right.
What do you think the effect radical imagination has on light? Your light.
Oh.
I didn't mean to surprise you.
Yeah, no, it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and you don't like that woof?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, well, see.
But that's for me.
Right. But that's radical. When you are radical imagination, it changes the nature of your light, of your imagination, because you're opening up to it.
Yeah.
And like the Weird Al song, forget about everything you knew. Forget about everything you believed in.
Yeah.
Because there's so much more.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
I use it on your past lives that are coming to visit you. Don't you feel a little sorry for them? They're going through all that stuff.
No.
No?
You know what? All those weird aspects made me who I am.
Right.
And I'm very content with who I am.
Good.
I mean, people talk about going back, making changes in history.
Right.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
We got here.
You're right. Okay, but don't you have a yearning? Like sometimes, let's do more.
Well, more what? It's here.
I know, but don't you want to bring it in and experience, or don't you want to go through the light photon belt and have everything, change?
I used to listen to that guy.
Right.
The photon belt.
Right.
It's good.
Yeah.
No, we're here.
Okay.
And this is it. I can't imagine Earth getting much better in light of what you just talked about.
Right.
AI and free energy are, in my mind, way overdue.
Yes, they are.
And it's happening. And it's like, I'm elated. I think it's wonderful. I'm ready to kick back in my recliner and watch a show.
Okay. I'll be sitting right next to you.
Yeah.
Great, good. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Okay, one more, and we got to move along. Radical imagination. What is it? Give me an example in your life, a real life example.
Thank you, Lynn.
How are you going to do radical imagination?
Well, I'm in Kihak, so I've been practicing. But it's just like a feeling, and then it's just being there.
What's the feeling when you have this feeling of radical imagination? What does that feel like?
It's just I exist.
Yeah.
I'm here. I exist. It's like knowing myself, acknowledge myself.
When I say the words radical imagination, it's like I can almost feel like a race car going, down a wide open highway as fast as possible. And it's almost scary because you're going so fast, but you love it. And part of you is wondering, oh my God, what happens if? Part of you is saying, I don't care. And that's kind of radical. And then suddenly it switches and you're flying. That's radical imagination because you're not just in the car anymore. And not only are you flying, but you're in multiple realms at one time flying.
That's what I was going to say. I see like everything at once. Like I don't see it. I just feel it like I'm the center and everything is just there and a grace just to kind of capture and feel it.
Exactly.
And go through it.
What's happening to your light in radical imagination? What's happening?
It just expands and it's like whatever that was unseen before, or it's just there. And I can describe with words, but I can acknowledge. And
Right.
it's just a feeling.
Just a feeling, okay?
Just a feeling.
Yeah,
And it lasts a while, and I just be with it.
yeah. If I could attach a word to it, and words are so often limited, but what's happening to your light when you're in radical imagination is that suddenly it's free. You know, suddenly there are no
yes,
boundaries,
yes.
suddenly no
Yes.
limitations.
Unlimited, yes.
And suddenly it's all there, in the moment. It doesn't
Yeah.
need to move because it's everywhere. It
Yes.
doesn't need to have a speed or a velocity or an intensity. It's already there. Suddenly you find yourself very, very, what you call
Yeah.
multidimensional. You're aware on many levels,
Yes.
all at the same time, without losing your human balance, without getting absorbed into these other, what you call dimensions or realities. You're very aware of your human state, at the same time simultaneously aware of all the other possibilities. Not that you have to do them all or experience them all, but you suddenly become very aware that they are there, and that they're just tremendous potentials and possibilities.
And that's true what you say. You don't feel any attachments, and free of debt. You don't think you own anybody,
Yeah.
your kids, your family. It's like all disappears. It's just you there with everything.
Yeah. And
Possible.
suddenly you're very, just imagine that,
Yes.
radically imagine being in multiple states of awareness, primarily as a human, but also as all these other states, also as your past lives, also as your angelic self. You're suddenly aware all at the same time. The human mind doesn't really know how to do that. It has to put things in boxes and has to segment. But naturally, you're capable of doing that. And suddenly, instead of just being in an everyday lifestyle, just yourself, going about in life, suddenly you're aware of all these other things, and not losing your balance, your potential focus as a human right here. That's always been one of the dangers or pitfalls, because suddenly, you go out there, you do astral projection or whatever, you go out there and you forget yourself, your grounding right here, and people die when they go out there because suddenly they can't get back. But in true radical imagination, suddenly you open up everything, and you're aware of it, but it's not overwhelming.
You're right.
You're aware now, these are my potentials. Here's my magic here and here and here. It was always here, but suddenly it's available. And suddenly you're not having to think about it and say, well, when is magic ever going to happen? Because you've radicalized. You've gone into this very sense of your open imagination. And in that case now, the light is free. It really always kind of was, but here in this reality, it was very confined. Now the light is free, and what you're going to get back from all of this experience is, what do you want to do now? What do you want to do now that you have this very open awareness, now that the light is everywhere and it's free? What do you want to do?
Allow what's coming.
Allow what's coming, or step up into a new role of creatorship.
Yes.
No longer just following paths of destiny, but saying, what do you want to do? And you could be like Andy and say, nothing. I just wish those aspects and past lives would leave and stop bothering me. But I'm happy right here. But it's really cool now that I have this multi-dimensional awareness. And on the other hand, you might say, I've been waiting for this for a long time. I want some things to change. I'm going to recreate what I do, how I experience life, without trying to change anybody else. The minute you do that, you're in big-time trouble. But for your own self, here's what I want. Here's what I choose. Good. Thank you. Okay, let's take a deep breath with that. We'll continue on with radical imagination. Go beyond, Shambra, go beyond. There's so much more out there, and you're not going to get there through just thinking about it. You're going to get there by allowing radical imagination. Yes, there'll be some short-term situations like crazy dreams, like suddenly feeling you're a sense of like you have vertigo, like you're going to pass out. It's simply because you're shedding those boxes that have confined and defined you. Suddenly you're opening up. The value to you personally is, first of all, it's an amazing landscape out there, the multidimensional landscape. Suddenly you'll begin to understand how all this is kind of, how reality is constructed, how this reality is constructed. You'll see that it takes things from these other realms, these other parts of yourself, and how they're all woven together and creating the tapestry for your life. And now with this open awareness, you start to realize, I can redo that tapestry. And even if you don't decide not to, you say, no, the tapestry is beautiful. Now you have at least the awareness that you can change it if you want. So radical. Think big, but it's even beyond thinking. It's imagining in a radical way. Don't settle for just another shade of blue. Let yourself become very radical. Okay, deep breath. Are we doing okay?
Yes, sir.
Great. Next subject. It's going to be a big one this year. It's not that bad. You grimace and you're like, what do you think we're going to get a probe here of some kind? But it's like energetic probe. What are you? Jeez, Shambra. I want you to feel into truth for a moment. Truth. If it wasn't for this whole issue of humans trying to discover truth, so a lot of philosophers would have been out of business, songwriters and everything else. It's been this quest for truth. A little while back, I said, there is no one truth. Forget about it. There is no one truth. When you are doing radical imagination, one of the first things you realize is that there is not a single truth, but there is truth. You're going to be discovering your truth this year, and it won't be singular, but it will all be truth. It's one of the things that's really eluded you. What is my truth? What is truth? You read about other people's truths. You probably read philosophy about truth. Nobody ever really gets to it, do they? I mean, they dance around the subject or they write around it in a lot of ways, but truth. Everybody's like trying to find this big universal truth. What is God's truth? God doesn't have a truth in that respect. This year, you're going to come into connection to your truth. And I can tell you right now, it's not what you think it's going to be. It's, if we were to go around the room, which we will in just a moment, and you ask you to define truth, probably not. This year, you're going to connect and communicate with your truth. And at first, you're going to probably reject it, thinking that you're making it up or thinking, well, that's not me. But it's going to continue to ring your doorbell, continue to say, I am the truth. Let's go around the room for a moment and I'd like you to share what is your truth right now today, and knowing that you can change it, but what is your truth as a human and as a master? Hello, Ra.
Hi, Adamus.
I'm doing. You really want to hear how I'm doing?
Yes.
We don't have time. I'm annoyed, actually. Why? Why? Shambra.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean.
I feel you on that, too.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, I love Shambra, but.
I do, too.
I'm annoyed because we have such an opportunity right now.
Yes.
But I still feel the feet dragging and,
I feel that, too.
Yeah, and I just don't, I miss the passion, the exuberance, the excitement.
Yes.
And once in a while I get glimpses of it. Like you've been to some of the workshops, there's a little bit.
Yeah.
But all in all, Shambra is still
They're scared of it.
downtrodden and depressed.
Yes.
And if I don't tell them something new at every meeting, then, I didn't get anything new. It's like, well, you didn't get the old stuff either, so I'm going to keep feeding you old until you understand it. So I'm a little sad. I mean,
Me too.
I'm seeing a shrink
too.
up on the Ascended Masters Club. No, literally, it's a shrink. I mean, that's used as a
I'm
term
seeing
here.
one
but
too. So
yeah, no, I had a big head. I had a big ego. I was always boasting about my Shambra. They're the best. We're the best. And then I had to go see the shrink to get my ego down a little bit, to adjust it, because where's the passion,
yeah,
Shambra?
where is the passion?
Where's the excitement? The laughter, the singing, the joy.
Love 2.0.
I mean, there you go, whatever. It's like,
Yep.
but where is it? Where we should be right now coming into this new year is, hell yeah.
Yes.
And just
Like
screaming
Andy
and
said,
yelling
yeah.
it. But walk in here and everybody's like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, life is so tough. Well, then you gotta have radical imagination. Anyway, I don't want to.
I think they don't do enough, Aliyah.
Yeah, I don't want to have
Yeah.
to tell you all my problems, but I just want to let you know I am going for counseling.
Okay. But that's a good thing.
And you know who's my counselor? It's the greatest thing in the world. I mean, I've got the best of the best.
Good to me.
No, me, not myself. I walk in and I say, lay down on the couch there, Damas, and I lay down. It's actually Saint-Germain, and Saint-Germain is like, so tell me the problems. I created you kind of to work with Shambra. You having issues down there? And yes, they don't get me. They don't understand me. Anyway, I'm sorry. I
It's okay.
distracted.
It's okay.
By the way, please, thank you. Thank you first for laughing. It's good to see some smiles. Secondly, tell stories. Stop being so boring. Something stopped my words. Stop being so boring, Shambra. Tell stories. Add some color. Put in some theatrics into it. When you're talking to somebody in a group, stop being so didactic, so dogmatic. Bring a little color. You've got color. I mean, you look
this
beautiful
too.
today.
Thank you. You
Yeah.
look good too.
Yeah,
Always.
it's okay. I dress them different, but So where were we? Truth. What's your truth?
My truth is what I say it is.
Okay, say what it is then.
My truth is everything that I choose.
Okay.
That I am, my passion, my love, me.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I detect some maku here.
Why you say that?
Because there's some stuff you don't want right now, and it's still there.
Like what?
Well, you go talk to your shrink about it. He'll tell you. We want to do what was that TV show?
There is stuff that I don't want to be there. Like I don't want to be struggling financially.
Are you?
Not as much as I was before.
Oh, that's a good answer. That's what I love to hear. Are you in pain? Are you
Oh,
depressed?
no.
I'm not as depressed as I used to be. I used to be just terrible.
You know what? I changed that story.
Thank you.
I'm debt free.
Okay.
I'm in love,
Oh, you are.
as always. Yes,
yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
And I'm very passionate.
Yes, you are.
Yes.
What's your truth?
My truth is I want to allow everything. Everything that you speak of, I want to.
You want to allow everything?
Yes.
Everything? Everything,
With
everything?
myself, yes.
With yourself, okay.
Yes, with
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
Yes.
You want to allow all of
I'm
yourself.
ready for everything, you know?
Yes, you are.
Everything you speak of, I'm ready.
Yeah.
So what's the holdup?
What's the holdup,
Yeah.
she asks.
What's the holdup?
Do we dare tell her?
Yes. Open book.
Talk to your shrink. Actually, I'm going to start Adamas's counseling services. Dr. Adamas at
How
your
much
service.
you charging?
Oh, you couldn't afford it.
Ah,
You'd have to take out a loan, and then you'd go into debt to feed everything we've talked about. But it's either that. I'm trying to decide what I would really want to be if I was a human on the planet right now. One would be I would be comedian psychiatrist. There aren't any. There are none. I've looked around. No comedian psychologist, psychiatrist, or anything else. They're so boring, and then they give out medication. I would be so damn funny with everybody that walked in. It would just the problems would just dissolve right away. Or I want to thank you. Or I want to be a game show host. I'm going to do a game show.
Take the first one.
Pardon?
Take the first one.
Take the first one.
Yeah.
I could do both at one time.
That's true.
I'm
You're a master. Yes.
I'm going to put this on the schedule here. Jean, Linda, pay attention. I want to do another Schaumburg game show. Remember we did one years ago? I love that. I'd love to be a game show host. And so let's do another one. And I'll combine that with being a master psychiatrist.
Okay.
Yes, a shrink, yeah. Okay, oh, that'll be interesting. Pardon? I know, but if I say that I'm a shrink, counselor, whatever, they change their whole attitude. So I'm just a ascended master.
Okay.
So,
back
truth.
to me, Adamus. Come on.
Back to you.
Yeah.
Okay, your
Tell
truth.
me what's my Machio.
What's your Machio?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Open book.
You say one thing, do another. You think one thing, but allow other things into your life. You know where the light is, but you let these other things come into your life. You haven't walked away from the very things that you know are holding you back. Period.
Interesting.
That's kind of boring, actually, but you know.
I thought I was allowing all the time. You know, I'm a good receiver.
Yes, you are a good receiver,
Yes.
but you're allowing stuff that really doesn't look good on you.
That's
You know what I'm
true.
talking
Yes.
about. Yeah. So just allowing doesn't mean letting people use you as a doormat.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Allowing is allowing yourself, not everybody else. And you've taken on a whole new definition of allowing. You've allowed crap to come into your life. Say,
That's
that's
true.
okay, I'm allowing. It's like, no. Go back to allowing school. It's about...
I did.
It's about, we'll go back again.
Okay.
It's allowing yourself, your
Yes.
higher self, your multidimensional self, your God self, your master, your soul, your I am, nothing else, nobody else.
Yes.
You're allowing everybody else, and you're kind of the feeding
That's
trough.
true. Yeah.
And
That's so true.
what do I say?
Yes.
I'm a shrink, yeah. So, truth. Do you know what your truth is? No. That's good, because she's going to be open now when truth comes along this year.
Okay.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you. Love you, Adamus.
Love you too. And come by anytime. We talk a lot. You talk, I listen. Another one. What is your truth today? Today, what is your truth? No Machio. I know. You say, oh, shit, then I have nothing to say. Okay.
Truth. I'm incarnated. I'm a master in a human body. That's what I'm infused today.
Is that your truth, or is that a nice cliche?
A nice cliche.
I know. Good, you're being truthful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody came along and said, would you write a short story about your truth? What would that be like? What is your truth?
It will be very uninteresting today. And you know, that kind of genre that you're talking that we drag, that's basically me.
Yeah.
And you know, when I was listening to the song, I couldn't but stop thinking about the spark. What the heck is my spark?
Yeah,
I feel that I don't feel it anymore. The spark to start that fire.
Yeah.
So
What went wrong? You used to have a lot more fire.
Nothing.
Nothing went okay.
It went away with the allowing. That's what I became to think lately.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like that.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how's your passion level? 10 being high.
It changes all the time, but if I could say right away, I would say 3.
3, okay.
Right now.
Yeah, well, that's being honest. That's being honest. Why?
Oh,
You'd think that suddenly, you're opening up, you're learning all these great things, you got your own personal psychiatrist in the other realms.
Right.
Why isn't the passion higher?
I think it went away the interest to ask why. That's what I I became like at night I want to imagine things, and yeah, I do play. I play with it. I think my clear computer where I have all the potentials of my life, and not all of them I'm infused as a human, and some of them I could be a tree or I could be a cloud. And that's how I play with it. And
Right.
it goes away, I fall asleep, and I feel like, did I really care about that? I don't care about it.
Yeah.
When I wake up the next day, all that goes away, and I drag it, and I drag my human with me.
Yeah. And my response to all that is that all of you are generally imagining on a very low level, a human level, a mind level. And when I say radical imagination, it's about breaking through that, breaking out, and not just imagining that you're a tree.
Our human has a very limited of what radical is, because
No.
we haven't tasted.
No, not
Okay.
at all. I mean, unless you want that, but
No, of course
every
not.
one of you knows how to go radical, but you're afraid to do it.
Yeah.
You're just like, what's going to happen to me? What are people going to think about me? What if I go radical and then never come back? That's not going to happen. What you're going to find out in radical imagination, as I mentioned before, is suddenly you become very aware of a lot of things. You see not just the bottom side of the tapestry as you would in this life, but the top side and how it was made and how all the energies work together, how there's divine order in your life, how the energies swirl and move, and how there's this master code, and suddenly it's like, wow, this is it's not complex, but it's a very beautiful, beautiful song that's being sung all by your energy. But to stay in okay, I'm going to imagine a little better life. You're defeated right from the moment you say, I'll imagine a little better life. You're defeated. You got to imagine radically.
No, well, it's not working. That's what I probably feel this way, because
Right.
I already tasted that way, and it didn't go anywhere.
I challenge that. You didn't really try. You went a little ways, but you didn't really try. Radical imagination is the point where you suddenly have the feeling you're going crazy. You're going out of your mind. And you feel like pulling back. I'm not going to let you. I'm going to keep pulling you this way towards radical imagination. Otherwise, you're just living more in this house of blue in the land of blue, and thinking that because you're dreaming of a little bit different blue, that you're being radical. Not at all. You're being mundane. You're being mediocre at best. Radical imagination is saying, I don't know what's out there, but I am going. And that starts a whole process of light and energy, physics, quantum physics, everything else that starts at working and changing. And yes, it could be a little uncomfortable at first, feeling like you're going to just pass out, cross over, feeling like you suddenly lost your memory. You can't remember shit because suddenly you're going way beyond the mind. And you take a deep breath and you remember that everything that's happening right now is appropriate. There's no mistakes in it. It's just how far do you want to go? So,
Alrighty.
thank you.
Sure, no, thank
I'm
you.
going to come back to radical imagination and push on it because you're not imagining big. No, I mean, it's not a negative, but you wonder why things aren't changing in your life. You're imagining within a circle of your existing reality, and you don't see outside that circle, all the other circles, interconnected, all the different colors of circles, everything else. Radical imagination means you let it all go. You hold back nothing. You let yourself go out there. Sure, start out by imagining that you're a tree, but that's child's play. We used to do that in the mystery schools all the time. I mean, you don't need to keep doing it. Radical imagination is immersing into your light without having to control it, without having to say, this is what the light is. This is how it's defined. Now, coming back again to truth. Truth is a very interesting, very elusive thing. the search for truth has been around forever, because humans look in the very wrong places for truth. They look for truth being a law, a rule, and it's not. They look for it. The truth is that you are all God. Well, that's kind of a rule or a law or cliche. It's none of those. And as we go into your truth, when you hit on it, it's like, oh my gosh, I would have never thought this was my truth. I would have never even considered it, but suddenly you're in the awareness, which, by the way, takes some radical imagination, going beyond. When you hit that point of truth, again, it won't be what you think it is. You will not be able to define it. And by the way, that was the answer to my question today, asking, what is your truth? I wouldn't be able to define it even if I knew it. That's the answer. I cannot put it in words. I cannot relegate it to human words or even thoughts. I can't share it with others. It is so personal. I can feel it. I know it. But I do not want to put it in words, for I don't want to demean it. That when you get to that level of truth, which is so personal, you won't even be able to, maybe down the road a bit, but initially don't even try to put it in words, because then you're just boxing it in again. You don't try to impress the world with writing a song or a poem or anything else. You're going to limit it right away. I want you to be in that truth. Don't tell anybody about it, except me. No, because the moment you, I had this experience last week, and I metaphysical, transcendental experience, I found my truth. Okay, now try to explain it. You won't be able to. It is in the other realms. In other words, it hasn't been humanized yet. And you're going to have that experience. You don't have to push it. You don't have to go out seeking it. It's going to find you. And you're going to hit on that. And if it doesn't just knock you over, you haven't really hit on it yet. So don't come back next month and say, oh, Adamus, I had my truth last month. So that wasn't truth. That was something else. And we'll get beyond that. But when you get to that truth, hold it. Feel it within yourself. Let it come alive within you. And it's not going to be a nice little cliche. It'll be something far, far beyond that. That's your truth. So let's take a good deep breath. You're of definitely radical imagination and finally coming to truth. It's not going to be a couple cute little words. You won't even be able to define it to yourself. But I ask you to feel it. So next, it's time to go into the Marab. But time goes so quickly here on this planet. I sometimes am so annoyed at it. And I throw all your clocks away. But let's start with the music first. Get ready for this Marab. So it was about 5,000 years ago where love was first experienced on this planet. That was a pretty radical statement. Even it took Chambers by surprise at first, like, what? I thought love has always been. No. It came from this planet. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, there's other civilizations, I guess you could call them, other multi-dimensional realities. They're not even close to love. I have no concept. Some other places have learned from Earth. I'm trying to bring love back there. Number one most popular class being taught on the New Earths, many of them now, New Earths, most popular class to the angelic beings who never have come here yet is love. It's the most basic class. Kind of starts there. It starts with an acknowledgement of what took place on this planet 5,000 years ago. Love. Spirit didn't know about love. The I am. I did not hear that. The I am did not know about love. It had to be experienced by the human. And when love was first experienced, it was one person. One person. And it was a woman. It was a woman, obviously. That's where it started. Now, the dynamics of love, the consciousness, energies of love, were starting to spread across the planet, but it hadn't been solidified into an experience, into love. But then one person, and then another, and another. And pretty soon, in just a matter of a few centuries, the whole concept of love was starting to spread across the planet. It's not like everybody got it right away. Not at all. But the whole foundation for love was there. And, in those first experiences of love, in the first 100, first 1,000, it was all women. Probably in the first 100,000, all women that experienced it. It was about 400 years later when the first man experienced it. Interesting. Can you imagine let's say you were one of the early women to have experienced love? And it could have been love for your partner, for your children, for Earth, it doesn't matter, it was just love. And could you imagine going to your partner and saying, "Do you love me?" He's like, "I don't know, what's love?" "But do you love me?" "I'm not sure what you're talking about." Love, this feeling. And the guy's like, "I have no clue what she's talking about." So it was kind of awkward back then. But then love started to spread across the planet. One more time, and you're going out the door. Whoever's phone is that, turn it off now. I really can you believe it? In this setting, in this energy? Whew. Okay, so love, where were we? Love. So, as women were starting to experience love across the planet, supported in a very big way by Isis, by the feminine energy. Isis is the feminine energy, but it's also you could say, organized in the other realms. The order of Isis, the feminine energy. And here we have women all across the planet starting to experience love. There's a little bit of a concern in the other realms. What about the guys? What's gonna... Thank you. What about the guys, the men? So some of us got together in the other realms and said, in order for this whole thing to work out, the men are going to have to experience love. And, men by nature, if you went and asked a man on the earth back then and say, "Hey, you want to experience love?" I said, "Nah, not interested in that stuff." We knew in the other realms, though, to make this all work, to evolve this planet of love, that, the men were going to have to become aware of it, have to open to it and allow it. So we formed a little group. It's called the Council of the Holy Brothers. also known as Saint Brotherhood, Council of the Holy Brothers. And it was a bunch of us saintly types that got together, where we had a little bit more of a, we're gender neutral in the other realms, but we'd had more past lives as men and we kind of understood it. So we gathered together under this order. By the way, the name Saint-Germain, which I took on in my last lifetime, Saint-Germain literally means holy brother. I derived my name from this order, this council of the Holy Brothers. Our job was to connect our energies with those on earth who are ready, males, men, to help them open to the experience of love. Not an easy task. Not an easy task. But our job was to help facilitate those energies. In order for love to move forward, it couldn't just remain within Isis. It had to also leap over to Adam. Adam, where I get my name, Adamus. Now you know. So we organized, and for the very purpose of facilitating, making it easier for the male species on the planet to open to love. It was quite a different reaction than the feminine love. The feminine experience of love, you could say, was very soft, gentle, passionate, very, very caring. When the first males on the planet started to experience love, it was like crazy time at the zoo. They didn't know how to handle it. And suddenly they found themselves crying all the time. And suddenly they found themselves trying to run. There was something that came over them that the Adam energy really didn't understand. This thing called love. And they hadn't been exposed to this kind of tenderness. They hadn't opened their hearts up. But yet now it was starting to happen one by one, little by little, where the males were starting to feel this love. And then, can you imagine a woman who knew of love now meeting a man who was allowing the experience of love coming together? Isis and Adam coming together. It was remarkable. There's no real understanding of this in history. And some would simply scoff at the fact that love was so new on the planet. But if you really go back into history, there wasn't love, 6,000, 7,000 years ago? There wasn't even a word for love in terms of honoring God. Those words were written a lot later, and they used the word love, but it was not known then. There was no real love marriages. All marriages back then were arranged. Or there were marriages of convenience, marriages of combining powers, or marriages of simply for the money. How much dowry? That's not love. How much dowry do you get for taking this my daughter off my hands? How much do you want? That's what it used to be like until love came along. And then came Yeshua some 2,000 years ago, birthed by Mary for the very purpose of now spreading the word of love, spreading that light. It took 3,000 years for love to really take hold on this planet, for people to start experiencing it, and now Yeshua was here to spread the word of love. That was the single role, a role that each and every one of you participated in, because Yeshua was a collective being. As this whole experience of love started to change the planet, literally. I mean, that was radical imagination. The very experience of love, because it was not known. Yes, there was affection and friendship, and there were obligations to family and to country and things like that, but love, no. That was radical imagination. Somebody opened up enough people opened up enough that it became so. The women that first experienced love, we came up with a name for them in our boys' club in the Saint Brotherhood. And that name was Mary. They were called Marys. Mary derived from a very ancient Egyptian word, mir, M-Y-R, which eventually became defined as the translated word, beloved. So many of you have gone by the name of Mary, whether you carry it in this lifetime or other lifetimes, or have had it as a title. It is more than anything a title. In some of the other translations of the word, the name Mary, Marit, Miriam, there's quite a few that mean the same thing, Marie. And one of the translations into ancient language is also Lord. Lord, not meaning like as in a landlord, but a Lord, one who defines their own energy, their own self, Lord. The original name of what you now know as Mother Mary, the one who gave birth to Yeshua, was not Mary. She had a different name, but she eventually became called Mary in her lifetime, shortly after the birth of Yeshua, and then biblically was called Mary. And you know many other Marys, Mary Magdalene, many, many others along the way. This whole time, this loosely organized Saint Brotherhood has been there to help bridge the gap between Adam and Isis, between masculine love and feminine love. That's been the role of this group. Most Shaumbra men in this lifetime are somehow affiliated with that group. That's one of the reasons you're here. You're affiliated with that Saint Brotherhood, the Holy Brothers. Its one job is to help facilitate love within Adam. Women, you got Isis, and you don't actually need a whole lot of help. You get love. Men, they have it a little tougher. And the whole reason for bringing this up now is to help you get a little better understanding of how this thing of love came to earth. What's happening now as we go into Love 2.0. Isn't it interesting also, the English word marry, like to marry somebody? That's exactly what the man was doing. He was becoming Mary. It came to be the word used to define a legal relationship, but it's being married, allowing the marriage, the marry within self. And why I wanted to bring this up today at the beginning of the new year was that Mary, the Lord, the love, the feminine energy is going to be so important this year. To be able to have radical imagination and to allow truth within yourself to come up. This archetypical energy of Mary, that so many of you identified with it. So many of you identify strongly with Mother Mary or Mary Magdalene. But it's Mary, M-A-R-Y, Mary. It's the ones who first experienced the consciousness of love. We called them Mary, or Mir, M-Y-R, the beloveds. This is going to be a fast year, a challenging year in so many ways, everything changing quickly. And there are no better archetypical energies to come in right now to bring the light in and let it radiate than Mary, even for men. Men, you now have permission to be Mary. Let's take a deep breath with that as we call that in, as we call Mary in this year. And yes, you might think of it as Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, or any of the other Marys, but go back to the core of finding love. Radical stuff. It was so radical that there weren't beings on other planets that had discovered it. It hadn't been around since the beginning of God. It had never been done. That is radical. Never been done. Let's allow Mary. It's funny too, the word Mary as in happy, all interconnected. Let's allow in Mary. Some of you have been doing it already before we even did this Shoud. Some of you had sudden thoughts of Mary, identifications with Mary. Let's allow that in right now. Mary, and not the person, but Mary, that consciousness, allows the light to shine in a different way. It allows the imagination to open in a different way. Why? Because it's all love-based. It allows the transformation into Love 2.0. And men, gentlemen, I ask you to allow that within yourself as well. It's not just a feminine thing. It's actually the very thing that marries the Adam and the Isis together within you. That creates that holy union. This is what we want to bring in for this year. A guiding force, a radical imagination, a love-based consciousness. Instead of battles this year, instead of constant mind struggles and battles and seeming that it's a never-ending fights and challenges all the way along, let's open up to Mary. It's not just love like was experienced 5,000 years ago. It's opened, it's matured, it's developed. It's become very, very wise. It's also going to be the very thing that helps you to connect with your truth. And the truth isn't defined as Mary, but it will help you realize your truth. Mary is the essence of love. Mary is an open consciousness. Let's take a good deep breath as we marry Isis and Adam, as we marry human and divine, as we marry the past, the present, and the future, as we marry human intelligence and divine imagination. what we're really doing is bringing the element of love, and compassion, and acceptance into every one of these things. Let's marry to the earth, especially as Gaia is slowly on her way out. Marry to the core, to the essence of the earth, marry to the magical kingdoms of earth. You see, it's a type of essence that brings things together in harmony. And right now it's just time to allow that. Mary, a word that goes a long ways back to mirror, and eventually given the meaning, the beloved. And you know, it's one thing that's already within you. Now it's time to let it marry into your everyday life. We'll continue the Holy Brotherhood for a while. There's a lot of men that still just don't get it. Yes, we're here to serve men, but in honor of Isis, not just a boys' club. Every part of this Holy Brotherhood, the work we do, is in honor to Isis, to the feminine who first experienced love, in honor to Mary, and to protecting Mary. So, dear Shambra, deep breath as we marry ourselves. Good deep breath. And right about now, you should be getting very excited about radical imagination and coming to your truth. Let's take a good deep breath here together on our fourth day of the Holy Year 2025. With breakthroughs in things like energy, free energy. It's not just a dream anymore. The metaphysics of free energy, really quite simple, was being married to this planet, to humanity. This year where quantum computing allows everything to go at warp speed. And all this time, you marrying to yourself. All based in love. For what greater consciousness can there be than love? With that, let's take a deep breath. Now, go have fun, play, eat, enjoy. We've got a lot to do in front of us this year, but let's do it in the light. With that, dear friends, remember, all is well in all of creation. With that, thank you and Happy New Year. Thank you.
And so it is. With that, please, let's just take a few good deep breaths and allow this message, this information to integrate with you. It has a different meaning for each and every one of us. Can you just breathe and let it flow with you? So much here. Love, the concept of Mary and what this means, and just the beginning of it all. Just take that good deep breath, honoring yourself, all that you are. Just breathe and be with you. The music's going to play out, and I invite you to continue that personal, conscious breath as we end this Shoud. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us, including this wonderful audience. Thank you. See you again. Breathe.
I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright, blessed days, dark, sacred nights, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? But they're really saying, I love you. I see trees of green, red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself,